Welcome everyone to this weekend full moon Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for March 10th to the 12th of 2017. So a full moon on Sunday this weekend, right in between the constellations of Leo and Virgo. So speaking first on Leo, this is where we had the last full moon. It was a lunar eclipse a month ago. And so that was also a time of awareness about the Leo quality. So Leo is about essentially cultivating the things that we're passionate about in life, our interests, our passions, and all in all expressing ourselves, expressing these passions and interests and things, whether it's literal things or just feelings or whatever it is. So we've been learning a lot about this because the lunar eclipse was involving the North Node, and we do have the North Node in Leo, which means there's a lot to learn this year, and as it was last year, about what it is we're passionate about and more of that self-expression. So this full moon can certainly highlight that and bring a lot of that to the forefront. Now the Virgo side to it is where we take the passions of Leo and then we start to refine it. A great analogy of this is like the painter who in Leo gets inspired to make a painting, right? We get the inspiration, we may even get the vision, right? And we enjoy painting, it's fun. Then in Virgo, however, the painter in this analogy starts to get into the refinement of the actual skills of painting, of the actual brush strokes and which colors to use and that kind of thing. So in our own personal life, it's essentially taking the passions of Leo, but then in Virgo, actually implementing it, actually doing the work, which is what Virgo's all about. So refining things in our life, refining ourselves most fundamentally with Virgo. This is the skill. It's our own improvements, our own development, but it could also very well be wanting to improve and structure our outer reality, our daily life, whatever it might be there. So very good full moon for becoming aware of both qualities of ourselves and how to implement these qualities, both the self-expression, creativity, and passion, as well as the refinement, organization, and wanting to improve things in our life. Now this full moon is going to be forming a T-square with Saturn, so there is a challenging side to it, which we're going to talk about. We may feel blocked or restricted, but there's a healthy way of working with that. There's a trine to Pluto, so there is support in the sense that I think we're going to be wanting to make some changes, some deep changes, and we could certainly, again, have the support to do that. The full moon will be opposing up to Chiron and Mercury, which in full moons, oppositions are a bit more neutral. But this is where we can be very mentally active at this time, so finding balance with the mind. And we may be doing some healing this weekend. In fact, as we approach the full moon on Sunday, here on Friday, we have Mercury going over Chiron. So there is already some healing just kicking off the weekend on Friday, particularly with our perspective in mind, which we'll talk about. And on Friday too, we do have the sun slowly shifting into Pisces. So as we approach this weekend, or as we go through the weekend, more and more of this very intuitive energy, which again has already very much been emphasized with Venus, Mars, and Mercury all in Pisces right now at the moment. So there can be uncertainty with this, a bit of nebulousness, a fog with our outer reality because the sun is that life force focus. But that's what makes this such a good time to go within and to listen to that intuition. All right, so yeah, that's the weekend in a nutshell, but let's go ahead and look at this in more detail. All right, so here is the chart for the full moon. We'll go ahead and analyze the full moon first, and then we'll go ahead and look at how this weekend is leading up to it. So yeah, full moon right in between these two constellations, Leo and Virgo. As you can see here, Leo is the North Node aspect to all of this, suggesting that last year and this year, again, we're learning about the passions. We're learning about our self-expression. So I think with that perspective, it can be a great way of utilizing this full moon, seeing what awareness comes our way, and what insights we might gain at this time in terms of what we're passionate about and how we can express ourselves. And again, maybe even to get into that playful, creative sort of energy in our life. So likewise, Virgo is very different. Virgo is earth. Virgo is refinement. And so here it's about, again, taking those passions and then improving it, refining it. And this is the Jupiter side to this year. And this is the fact that, last year we may have been inspired to maybe cultivate some things that we knew was going to take improvement and knew was going to take working on the details of it. But now Jupiter being retrograde is suggesting that that's exactly what we want to do right now, is work on the details of whatever these potentials or possibilities are that we have been feeling or have been inspired towards since last year. So the full moon can help us become more aware of that, our own analytical side, the side of ourself that can improve things, work on the details of things, and again, refine that self-expression, ground the self-expression, actually embody the self-expression, take that passion and do the work, do something with it, make it into something real, which is the earth quality of Virgo. So it might be something specific, tangible in your life, but it could just be generally in your life, feeling both expressive, but at the same time refined. And so it's refining that self-expression, actually embodying it, living it on that daily level with Virgo. All right, so that's the sign placements. There's the T-square up to Saturn, as you can see here. Saturn, as a lot of you know, is the planet of restriction, is the planet that teaches us things like patience and persistence, taking things slow. And so with the square, though, we may not be willing to do that. We may be feeling a bit blocked. We may be feeling a bit challenged or restricted. It could be, again, internally or externally. But the best way of working with Saturn is to be proactive with it, embody the energies of Saturn. So even though it might be uncomfortable to do it, challenging ourselves, restricting ourselves, in other words, being patient, being long-term, whatever that might mean for you personally, just understanding that this is part of a much larger picture, as Saturn always shows us. This is part of a yearly cycle here of what we're talking about. But Saturn shows us that things do take time. And if we are willing to put in the time, and we are willing to put in the work and effort, which is also Saturn, just like Virgo, then we're definitely on the right side of this T-square. And then as a result, this can be very constructive. All right, if we're taking 2 steps forward, 1 step back, we're still building. And that's what Saturn's helping us do. In this case, build the self-expression and build whatever it is we're working on the details of. All right, so that's the Saturn side to it. Mind you, Saturn is shifting into Sagittarius very briefly at the end of this month, right before he goes retrograde. He's going to go back into Ophiuchus. But there's certainly this Sagittarius energy with Saturn coming in at the moment. And this is that the things that we are passionate about and do inspire us take time. And that's Saturn. So there might be that quality to this full moon that we are feeling inspired, but yet there's something that feels restricted or blocked. And again, just understanding that this is something that, these are feelings and maybe quite literally things that will be taking some time. All right. And then, of course, the Ophiuchus is just that we have to be building things in our life that are based on truth at the moment, that are based on what really matters to us most. And if it's not, we can't build it, fundamentally and generally speaking. So that's the Saturn, very important with this. But like I said, there is a trine up to Pluto in Sagittarius, mind you. So Pluto's been helping us restructure our belief systems, face our fears in order to expand our reality. So we can certainly do that. We can have a willingness to change with this. It's very supportive, these trines. There can be some endings with this full moon and some new beginnings. And I think the more willing we are, which I think in this regard we are, the more willing we are to clear out the old, to make way for the new, to make some changes, both, again, internally and externally. It's a fantastic way of working with this trine. So making changes, restructuring our life, transforming ourselves. For some of us, facing our fears, going within and deep, but we're willing to do that. And through that facing of the fears, we break those shackles, we create freedom in our life, and then it's the freedom to make some what could potentially be powerful change with this full moon trine Pluto. All right, so that's those two planets. Like I said, there is oppositions up to Mercury and Chiron, who are in the beginning of Pisces here. So there might be a lot of mental activity with this full moon. It's not unordinary for Mercury to be in opposition because Mercury is always somewhat close to the sun. But there could be a lot of thinking, a lot of mental noise. And the important thing here is that Mercury's in Pisces. Like I was saying, with the sun shifting into Pisces, there's a lot of this receptive energy. Now, mind you, next week Mars is going to shift into Aries, so that's good. Our drive, our motivation, our action, our energy on some level could certainly be getting picked up with Mars and Aries. But in terms of our focus, in terms of our outer reality, in terms of our mind, there is a lot of this nebulousness, could be confusing or uncertain at the moment. And so the point of all this is for us to go within for the answers, to listen to our intuition, to use this time to develop that intuition, that inner guidance, and again, find that current, that flow of life, and flow into it, okay? So that's a great way of working with the sun here for the next, be about, 5-6 weeks, and Mercury as well, while he's in there also. So that's going to be the opposition there with Mercury, just maybe balancing the mind, balancing perspective, and again, surrender can really go a long ways. Now, Chiron is the healing side to this, and I think there is going to be a lot we're learning about this healing. In fact, as we approach the full moon, as you can see here on Friday, Mercury starts to conjoin up to Chiron. So before we have the full moon, I think there's something we're learning about our wounds, about our weaknesses, and accepting them, as I always say with Chiron, is really the key. And so as we accept these wounds this weekend and with the full moon, we can find that this rejuvenates us, this refreshes us. We feel healed as a result. And I think the more willing we are to heal with this full moon, the more we're going to sort of feel it. I think it's happening naturally, but that gets us on the right side of it. And again, we can learn a lot about ourselves through this process. All right, so that is the full moon in a nutshell. Generally, since there's a lot of aspects, the most fundamental way I would look at this is that this is an insightful time. At the very least this weekend, on Sunday in particular, seeing what insights come our way. Even though there's a lot of intuitive, watery energy, this is the high point of the cycle. So it is a good time to sort of, put things forward, particularly next week. With whatever insights you gain, there's always this shift with the full moon of some sort of transition. And it's usually the transition of once we gain some insight, we're sort of going from this older energy into this newer energy. And so listening this weekend, listening to the insight, and then going into next, starting to implement it, I think is a great way of working with it. And again, it could have to do with our own personal passions, our own personal interests, and then how to refine that and really get into the qualities of life, which are about improvement, personal growth, personal development, and working on the details of things. All right, so that is the full moon, and this weekend, as you can see here, leading up to it on Friday. By the way, all weekend we're going to have the moon in Leo, so it does make it an excellent weekend for cultivating, again, a bit of fun, playfulness, creative energy in our life. Friday, learning about our these wounds, these things that we're healing, could certainly be a new shift with that. We could even feel wounded about our own mind or mercurial things, the way we think, our intelligence, maybe communication, maybe things involving business or trade, things like this. But it's happening naturally. And as we heal those wounds, like I said, it's a very rejuvenating weekend. All right, and then Saturday, not a whole lot going on astrologically, but the moon will be opposing Neptune. So again, adding to this watery energy. It's right before the full moon, so it could be that it's just very, with all this Pisces energy, very intuitive, and again, a good time to listen to that internal guidance. All right, and then at 10:53, we do have the full moon on Sunday. All right, and Mercury squaring Saturn is emphasizing this whole full moon squaring Saturn. So again, with that challenge or feeling blocked or something like that, in this case, it may have to do with the mind. So our own willingness to, again, take things slow, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, challenge ourselves, limit ourselves. It's about long-term things here. I think it's a great way of working with it. All right, so I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Thank you again for all of your likes, comments, and shares. If you do have any questions, feel free to comment down below. I'll do my best to answer them. And I will see you all on Monday. Take care.